guys, today is the 12th of July and it's a day we commemorate. Can you read this? I finally got my driver's license. I got my driver's license. Now, listen, so I was convincing myself to do a story time on how I got my license because it was very challenging, let's say. Basically, this isn't just a story of how I got my license, it's like tied in with my anxiety and some deeper themes. Okay, let's start from the beginning. When I was in year 11, I was 15 and I started to get a bit anxious, but I didn't really understand it yet, and I was like, whatever. And then I kept saying like, oh, year 12 is gonna be better because it's my last year of school. Long story short, year 12 was better in some ways because yes, it was my last year of school, so I was enjoying it a bit more for that reason. But in terms of anxiety, it just got worse. And I was also going to TAFE once a week, and that was not a fun experience because I loved going to TAFE. Like, I loved the course I was doing, but it was just like getting there, I was just so anxious, like to take the bus. And even when my mum brought me in, sometimes I would just cry, and a lot of the times I couldn't even leave the car. Like, we just have to drive home because I just, you know, mentally it was like a really hard year, 2022. So I got my permit on the 11th of August 2022 and I finished school the month after. So I'm pretty sure the first driving lesson I had was in October or something, because then I graduated in November, but October was my first month with like no school. And so I kept telling myself like, oh, when I finish high school I'm gonna be so much happier, I'm gonna be like not anxious anymore, my anxiety's gonna go away. And I told myself that for so long that I kind of started to believe it even though it wasn't true. So like, it was definitely getting better for a bit because I obviously didn't have to go to school every day, because that was another thing. Like, I'd have anxiety attacks every morning. I was crying every morning. Some nights I couldn't sleep. And my friends knew about it, but I don't think they fully understood it because you can't really understand unless you also have it. So it was kind of like they understood me, but at the same time, I just didn't know how to talk about it. So anyways, when I started driving, it was really fun and I was like, okay, this is so cool. I did like a short. I did my first lesson, and now my driving instructor, he's great. I love him. He even gave me this pen actually the first time we met. It's seeyourselfdrivingacademy.com.au if you're interested. He was great, there's nothing wrong with him, but because of how bad my anxiety was, every time my mum would book a lesson with him, I'd get so anxious until I was in the car. Like, once I said hi to him, it was all over, and anyone with anxiety will understand exactly what I'm saying. But like, the build up to know that I had to be in a car with him, it was just like, you know. And I think I ended up having 5 lessons with him between like October 2022 and then January 2023. So it was only a few months, and my general driving was pretty good. In 2023, I wanted to do TAFE full time because I did it once a week during year 11 and 12, and I was like, okay, I finished school now, because I didn't want to take a gap year because I had this mindset, because I was so anxious, I had this mindset that like, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. And I've always loved fashion, so I wanted to keep studying that. I got into TAFE, and if you watched that video, I ended up withdrawing the day it started. Thankfully, we got a full refund because later on you'll see another thing. Yeah, basically it was just not the time. I just couldn't do it. It was literally like, looking back now, I'm like, wow, that's crazy, like withdrawing the day it starts. But like, at the time, like I said, it's even on footage. I don't want to watch the video again because I don't want to like be reminded of that, but like, you know, it's just like how a person can be in such a bad place. And that's another reason I'm making this video. It's because getting your license is not easy for everyone, and maybe this video might help someone else who's going through the same thing or whatever. And now that I've got it, I feel more relieved, because I was kind of like stressed about making this video because I didn't want to like talk about it again. But now that it's over, I feel a bit better about it. So throughout 2023, I didn't go to TAFE, I wasn't working, I was just at home the whole time. And you think my anxiety would get better because I wasn't going out, but that just made things way worse. Every time my friends and I would make a plan to go out, I'd be so anxious the morning of or the night before. Sometimes, like I said, I couldn't sleep, or like I was so excited to see my friend, and once I was with them, I was so happy and my anxiety was just like gone. But just the before, like, was just so whether my mom was at work or she was at home, I would be like crying in my room and just like be stressed. And whether she was taking me or I was meeting my friend somewhere or we were taking the bus or like whatever, it was just so stressful. But in 2023, all my friends last year were at TAFE or work. So another thing was like, if I wanted to see them, a lot of times I couldn't because they would be doing stuff. And sometimes, I think, I can't really remember, but I think 2 of my friends have their license, and then my other 2 friends like worked together, so sometimes they would all hang out after work. And all my friends live in like a different suburb, but their suburbs are all like next to each other, and mine's like another 20 minutes away, so it was kind of like reasonable for them to go out just like as a spontaneous thing after work without me, because like I live far away. But because I was so lonely, I was just like, I would make so many sad TikToks last year, and I'd post them privately because I didn't want anyone to worry about me, and I deleted them all now because I just hate looking back at that. But I would post TikToks every day just in my private TikToks saying like, I feel so lonely or this and that. And like last year I decided to apply for TAFE again. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try again next year, which is this year. I applied for TAFE and again I got in, but they changed the course. So like for 2023 I was gonna do a diploma, but now I'm doing a Cert 4 because it's like they changed it now, so I gotta do the diploma after I do the Cert 4. And what worried me about this was that they said that if you withdraw, you're not gonna get a full refund. Anyways, before we get to that, this was the mindset I had. So this part's important. I was basically telling myself that if I had my license, I could do anything. Because I was so anxious last year, I couldn't even go on a walk by myself. Like I couldn't leave the house. Even, I remember a specific memory, my mom asked me to take the bin out. So I dragged it down our driveway and put it at the end, and there were some people on the outside of the road that were just walking, and they looked at me, obviously, because like I'm a person, like, you know, if you see someone, you're just gonna look at them for a sec. And I ran back inside saying, the people were staring at me, and I remember crying about it, and now I'm like, what? Like, I'm kind of just like, wow. Like, so that's just how my life was last year. Like, I tried to keep positive because I didn't want to spread this negativity, and I didn't want any of my friends to worry about me. I did talk about it to my friends sometimes, but it was mostly just my mum. Like, shout out mother. I love my mum. I heard this quote yesterday. It said, anyone can be a mother or like a father, but not everyone can be a mum or a dad. So my mother is a mum. So also I was 17 last year, right? So I was like, okay, it's time I get a job and I want to study a bit more, you know, go to TAFE and just hang out with my friends like a normal teenager, right? So I was like, okay, since I'm too anxious to take the bus, the only way out of this is to get my license. Now, keep listening because it gets tricky. So about halfway through last year, I was like, okay, I need to get my license before the end of the year, because if I was gonna go to TAFE, I had to drive there. I would not, like, I just couldn't get there any other way. In my head, that's what I thought. Like, I was just like, okay, well, I can't take the bus because I'm too anxious, and I don't want mum to drive me there every day because she has to go to work and then she'll be late, or again, like, that just, like, I wanted to drive myself. And like I said, my driving was good, it wasn't bad, but I hadn't really practiced the stuff that's in the test, because like in the test it's not just general driving, you also have to do exercises, which I'll talk about later. I booked a test for the 1st of November last year, and if you watched my Alvin and the Chipmunks video costume thing, I did actually mention in that video that I had my, no, I don't know if I said I got my driver's test tomorrow, but I think I said something about it and then I might have cut it out because obviously I didn't end up getting it. I actually had started filming a whole video of me doing like the practice test, and then you have to do like the hazard, is it a hazard test or something, like on the computer. I obviously passed that, so I filmed that as well, and that was all going to be part of like getting my license video. But on the 1st of November, we got there. It was like 7:55, I think. It was like an early one. The assessor that I got was nice. We got in the car, he checked the lights and everything, and we started going. And now, obviously I failed, okay? I failed a lot of times. You'll be used to hearing that. So I'll explain why I failed in a second, but when I failed, I obviously cried. Fountains, waterfalls, lakes, rivers, Olympic pools, because I just couldn't believe it. I was like, it's November, there's 2 months till the new year. And like I said, in my mind, like, I just can't be free without my license. And it was just like, I just couldn't believe that I failed. And I literally went through the 5 stages of grief. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, actually, like, I went through all 5 of them. When you fail a test, you're not allowed to book another one for another week at least. And when I got my report in the email, not to sound rude, but it was kind of the assessor's fault. We were driving in the right lane, and then he said, can you turn right into the next side street before the lights? And when I was driving, there was a side street and there were the lights. So I was like, okay, that one? He goes, yeah. But there were 2 white lines. and like there's traffic going this way, and I was like, there's no break in these, like am I supposed to do this? So I started turning, and then I stopped because there was a car coming, and then he goes, oh, it's okay, let's just go left. And he grabs the steering wheel and just, you know, looks and makes me go left. Obviously him touching the steering wheel is an instant fail, but is that my fault? Like, he told me to turn right. So anyways, like I said, 5 stages of grief. I was so angry and mad, and so then I booked another one, you know, I got back up. I booked one for the 8th of November because like I said, it had to be at least a week. Now this time I got this assessor that was a bitch, okay? I hate this guy. From the moment I got in the car, I was so uncomfortable. Also, this is like the important part of the story. He asked me to turn right and then turn left. So I stopped at the red light with my indicator right, obviously. And the first thing he did was he was like, where's the white line supposed to be? And I said, I was like about to cry, right? Because I was so anxious. I was like, under the mirror. And then he goes, where is it? And I was like, I couldn't even speak anymore. So I was just like, and then he went, there is nothing I hate more than when people sigh like that. It just seems like you're so disappointed in me. Like, I hate when teachers do it. I hate when parents do it. It just makes me feel like I just ruined your day. Anyways, he says turn right, then turn left. So I turned right, and then I look over my shoulder and I indicate left, and I go to the left lane. And he said, why did you do that? And I was like, didn't you say to turn right, then turn left? And he goes, yes, but you could have gone straight to the left lane. And he said it like in a mean way. Like, okay, first of all, I wasn't sure that I could do that. So like, you know, why risk it? Secondly, there was no one behind me. I looked, I indicated, what's the difference? 30 seconds later, I'm driving on a side street and there's a car waiting to turn right, and there was no one behind me. So I let him go because I could see he was waiting for so long with the cars in front of me. And then I was like, I know it's my right of way, but I was being nice, right? And like I said, there was no one behind me. It wasn't a main road. And my assessor goes, whose right of way was that? And I said, mine. And he goes, could he have made me feel worse? No, probably not. So obviously then he directs me back to the DVS and blah, blah. I failed again. I cried rivers. But that was my last straw because I was like, I don't know how many people knew this because I don't think I've ever said this, but when I was 13, I was passive suicidal. Would die, really, because there's nothing to live for, really. Well, that's what it feels like. So I started making a pile of like my things in my room that I was gonna like put on Facebook Marketplace or just throw out or whatever, because I was just like, what's the point anymore? Because like I said, in my mind at that time, the only way for me to leave the house or like go to work or go to school like was with my license. But I was so anxious I couldn't get my license. So it was just like this loop that was just never ending. And I told my mom, like, I felt so uncomfortable at that first red light before he even said anything about the light. I was just like, I just wanted to open the door and run away, which I obviously couldn't do because I was driving. And I told my mom, I was like, I cannot go through that again. Like, I can't experience that again. And then that's when she decided, okay, we're gonna go see a GP. Because my mom had suggested therapy or medication before, but I'd said no, not because I was against it, just because I thought like I didn't need it, because like I thought once I get my license, you know. But like I said, I couldn't get my license unless this was sorted out. So we went to see a GP on the 15th of November, so a week later. And she was like, she's a family GP, like she saw my grandparents as well, so like we know her. And she put me on medication, which I'm still taking now. And this medication was she said it would work with like 4 weeks, and I felt so great. Like, if you watched kind of Vlogmas 1 last year, I'm pretty sure I was talking about it, or the second one. No, I think it was the first one. So after I started the meds, I was like, you know, just kind of taking a break from thinking about driving. I was like, okay, don't worry about it. Just think about, I don't know, other stuff. I booked another one for the 14th of December, which for those who don't know was the day after my 18th. So it would have been a great birthday present to pass, but no. But we actually changed suburb because the first two I did in a suburb that was more like it was closer to like a freeway. It was more like in the city, so this one's a bit quieter. And I did want to do it at the quiet one before, but I just couldn't find any bookings because it was just packed. So this time I got one for the suburb I wanted, which was good. And the assessor I got was really nice. And I told my mum that when I was in the car, I was very comfortable. And obviously I failed, but I actually failed for a reason this time. Within like the first 2 minutes. Oh yeah, by the way, none of these tests I actually got through stage 1. There's 5 stages. Anyways, basically he asked me to go into the right lane, and it was kind of peak hour, I think. So as I was like looking behind me, he said I started to like turn into the curb. So he gently went over and just let me know what I was doing and just helped me steer back. I told my mum, like, you know, yeah, I failed, and I was so comfortable though. This was on my first day of being 18 as well. So I was like, so obviously I was sad I failed. And I think on the way back home, I was kind of just like sobbing. I don't know if I was crying. I can't remember if I was crying, but I was obviously sad or like bummed or whatever. But it was my brother's last day of school. So I remember when I got home, my brother was at school, and me and my mum went inside, and I said, I'm gonna go edit a video. And then when it was time to pick him up, I came downstairs and she was like, are you okay? Because I kind of seemed like normal. And I was like, you know what? It's Alex's last day of school, and I'm not gonna ruin it by being sad just because I didn't get my license. Especially because I just turned 18, so it's kind of funny. So then I kind of had this goal that throughout January I wanted to get my license because, like I said, I wanted to drive to TAFE. And I was like, well, I've got 1 month, you know, preferably I'd like some more practice time, but whatever. Oh wait, I think between the second and the third test, I think I had another lesson, and I remember being so anxious beforehand. I was like, Mum, I haven't seen him in like almost a year. This is so scary. I was like, and I literally almost went inside because he came to our house. Like, we used our car instead of his car. And I was like, Mum, I can't believe, like, it's a terrible time. And like I said, I would just delete this video and not let it see the light of day, but I want to share my story because sharing helps others, and I would like to have seen someone experience this, because I always see YouTubers say like, getting my license, and they get it first try or second try, and I was feeling really good, which was a change because December was pretty good as well for me, but the rest of 2023 was just bad. So I thought 2024 was going to be like that as well, because like, you know, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't think it was going to get any better until I got my license. So in January, I was feeling a lot better than I was like the past year already, and obviously the medication was helping me a lot. I felt a lot more relaxed in general. Oh, also, one thing about the medication is I heard that sometimes it takes a long time to get the right medication, but my GP got the right one straight away. Like, I'm still on the same meds now. Basically, meds to not make you feel as anxious when you do, or like, yeah, like to not feel it as hard. I used to take tablets, like the soluble ones, but then I learned how to swallow a pill, so now I take pills, which is much nicer because it tasted disgusting. Yeah, I was feeling much better, and we had booked tickets for Italy. So for those that don't know, I have a little bit of a past with Italy, you know. We moved to Australia 5 years ago, and we haven't visited Italy since. And again, if you don't know me, I was born here, but I lived in Italy for 13 years, and we'd come to Australia like every year. So there was never like, the longest time I hadn't been in one of the other country was I think 11 months. So not being in Italy for 5 years was really like strange when we went back. So the tickets were for March to April, like the end of March, beginning of April. So I was like, okay, since I'm starting TAFE and there's that on my mind, I'm just gonna take a break from driving. So I didn't drive until we got back from Italy. And I was really excited to get back into driving. And obviously you're probably wondering, so how did TAFE go? Because TAFE starts in Feb. Well, I love it. Great. The first day, like orientation day, I was actually petrified because I already knew the campus, but I went to orientation because otherwise they make you absent. So I went there, and at first they had like every student in the course in the same room, and I was like, I can't do this. And I was just like, I think I was actually crying the whole time. But I also didn't want to tell my mom that I couldn't do it because we wouldn't get a full refund. So I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. What's happening? And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna have to withdraw. I can't do this. I can't do it. College is just not a thing I am able to do. I mean, on orientation day, they then divided us into 3 groups. So there's group A, B, and C, and I'm in group A. And I loved the people I was in class with that were there on orientation, and I love my class now as well. I love everyone I'm in class with. So the thing is, I've actually made friends. Like, I know that sounds like, oh duh, but like when I did TAFE in year 11 and 12, I did not make any friends. I started to be friends with someone, but then she dropped out, and I was kind of part of a group. But then because I missed so many days because I was like, you know, because of anxiety and stuff, I just didn't really have any friends in TAFE. And my high school friends, people were like, oh, well, you have friends in high school, so you'd make friends in TAFE too. But my friends in high school came to me. Like, they accepted me when I didn't want to talk to anyone. So like, I love all my friends, but I was like, I have actually never made a friend myself. So I was really worried about TAFE, but I was like, you know, I'm here to study, not to make friends. But I made friends, and I love my TAFE friends. So, you know, life is just really coming up. Life hasn't lifed in the past 3 years, but it is lifing this year, so that's great. Basically, take the bus to TAFE every day. My mum takes me sometimes, but I walk around the campus and like the city and everything, and I'm just like, cool, I'm chill with it. Like, I feel like I live there now because I'm there all the time. And the term 3 actually starts after tomorrow. So anyways, back to the license. I took a break and then I started driving again in April. And then the beginning of June, I was like, okay, I gotta book a test. So I booked a test for the 27th of June, which was 3 weeks ago. And my mum got me a lesson with my instructor, and I wasn't as anxious to see him again because, like I said, the pills, the medication. So we booked a lesson the week before, and he said I was pretty good. But like I said, I hadn't ever gotten through a full test yet, so I didn't even know what was coming. Like, test day came and I actually got the same assessor that I did back in December. And so I was like comfortable with him because I already knew him. And this time I got through the whole test. Like, I didn't pass. He said that the only thing that let me down was my reverse parking. And honestly, if you guys were there, you'd be like, what the fuck? He asked me to go into a parking lot, and we were doing the stop for shopping exercise. And he said, okay, just reverse park next to that car. There was literally one car in the whole parking lot. And he said, just reverse park next to it. But I just remembered like the 3 lines, but I counted wrong. And I literally ended up fixing it up like 7 times. I'm not even kidding. It took, I think, a full 2 minutes to reverse park. And when we went back into the DBS after, he said, what happened there? And I was like, I don't know. So I actually don't think I cried that day, because when I go back, I was kind of like, I thought I did good. Like, I was surprised I got through the whole test, but I was like, I'm not sure, because I didn't, basically there were no instant fails obviously, but there were a lot of path errors which added up. So I didn't pass. And that day I didn't cry, but I was so exhausted. Like, I remember being so tired. Like, that was the only way to describe how I felt. Like, I went upstairs and I was just in my room like this, and the whole day I don't think I even laughed that day or made any jokes, because I just didn't have the energy to talk. And I think I was so drained with all the anxiety that was like the build up of the lesson and then the test, because I hadn't done it in so long. And yeah, so that was kind of like a release of all that. Still sad that I didn't get the license, but I didn't really care. I was just glad that it was over. And my driving instructor said, you know, if you fail it, just book another one for the next week, don't wait. So we booked another one for the next week, which was the 4th of July. Now, the 4th of July is Independence Day in the US, right? But for us, like my family, like me, my mom, my brother, it's also Independence Day, because it's kind of the day we moved to Australia. The day we landed in Australia, when we were like, we want to move here, you know? Obviously, the Australian flag is the same color as the US flag, so I wanted to kind of dress up for that and be like, oh, Independence Day. And then I thought it would also be a triple thing if I got my license, because then it's like Independence Day for another reason. So I thought that would be really funny, but I did not pass. And this time, it was a bit more heartbreaking because, again, I failed in stage 1. Stage 1, which is drive from point A to point B, then there's the left something behind, go back, exercise, and there's drive from point A to point B again, then there's stop for shopping, and then drive point A to point B, which is back to the DBS. So I failed in the first one again because I was turning right instead of going straight this time at the first intersection, because it was a different assessor, so he had a different route. And I was turning right and the light was green, and I thought there was no one, but there was someone, and like I kind of almost, it wasn't an almost crash, but like I was in the wrong. So I failed within like 5 minutes. That broke me, because I was like, what the hell? Last week I did the whole test and now I'm back to square one. And then I booked another one, which was today. I feel like this video is long enough, because I was gonna do like a video like giving you guys tips, but I might do that in another video because this one's really long. Also, yesterday we went to make pasta at my auntie's friend's house, and it was so much fun, so I was pretty much distracted for the whole day. I wasn't really thinking about it. And then at night, my mom and my brother were at my grandma's house helping her do something, and I was just at home watching YouTube. And then my cousins called me and they were like, do you want to go for a drive? We're like 10 seconds away. And I'm like, okay. So I got in the car with them and we went around, and then I got home at like 9. I went straight to bed, although I didn't actually sleep until midnight. I was just, I don't know why I couldn't sleep. So I was kind of pretty much distracted the whole day yesterday, and I was just like not really that nervous this morning, so I was like, whatever. And I kind of had this different feeling. I was like, the assessor I had last week was also this week, and when he read my name, he was like, have I had you before? And I was like, yeah. So he was like, is this your second time? I was like, sixth. But my mum said to not really count the ones from last year because I wasn't in a good headspace. So technically I passed on my sixth, but I'd say my third. Once I got past stage one, I was like, yes, already better than last week. And then did the second one, and then when he asked me to reverse park, obviously I practiced how to do that, and let me tell you, first try, I didn't even have to adjust it. I just went, 3 lines and then back, and I was like it was perfect. I don't know that it was straight, but I was in the bay, so, and it was just beautiful. So then when he said exit the car park and drive straight, I was like, that's it, we're just gonna drive back to the DVS now. And I was really confident that I'd gotten it. And we walk in and he said, you met the standard. And I was like, I actually filmed myself while he was saying that.
Congratulations.
Oh my god.
You have passed today. Okay.
Oh my god. I can't even believe it. I was like, happy for you. I can't believe I got my license.
We were in line to like get my license and stuff. I also filmed the woman giving me the peas.
Oh my god.
What am I covering? Oh, that's just my birthday. Okay. This is my photo right now. I was 16 and we took a new one today, and I tried to smile with my eyes off. They said it'll arrive in a few weeks, so for now I've got like this piece of paper as my license. So when my mom comes back from work, I'm gonna take the L's out of the car and cut them because I don't want to see them anymore. I am so sick of those. And like I said, I'm in my red era, so they even match my nails. Like, I'm just so happy. Moral of the story, it was a really rough ride, but in hindsight now I understand why the universe, God, or whoever wanted me to wait to show me that I can do things without my license. I don't need my license to be free, and I can take public transport and stuff. I still wanted my license just in case, or if my mom like needs me to do something while she's at work, or to go to the gym. It's like easier than taking the bus. And so yeah, I'm just so excited. Like, I don't really want to drive alone yet. Like, I still want to do a bit more like with my mom first, but yeah, that's basically the story. So yeah, like within a year I went from wanting to be deceased to having my license. Another thing come true on the vision board. But it's also one of those things that's like, it just took so much out of me that now that it's actually happened, I don't believe it. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever, like I got my license. Like, not whatever, like I am excited I have it. I'm just like, oh, I got my license. But I just don't believe it yet. I just never have to do a test ever again. So yeah, that's how I got my license. If you're going for yours, good luck. And if you had a rough ride, you're not alone. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Oh, wait. Hang on. I just want to add one more thing. Is that, like my assessors, like my instructor said, he said like if you fail, book another one next week. But this was like my last chance because the holidays are ending after tomorrow, and if I'm like at TAFE, I can't be practicing driving as much, and the new term starting, so I really want to focus on just TAFE. And I'm still gonna take the bus to TAFE, but that's just more for emergency to have my license, So I was kind of like, do I book another one if I fail today? But I just didn't want to think about that. So I'm so thankful and grateful to whoever is looking over me that I got my license today, because I'm just so happy I could cry. I've never cried tears of joy. I thought I would when I got my license, but I didn't. But yeah, that's it.